Hello everyone, it's Mia from Mia Bell Natural Beauty Brokers. Welcome to another Small Business Masterclass where every month industry experts and champion brands share their top tips to create success for yourself and your business. As entrepreneurs, we set out to create ventures and lives that we can be proud of as well as successful in. There's this really scary statistic out there that actually 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs fail in their businesses within 2 years of starting their venture. So how do we ensure longevity for ourselves? How do we make sure that we're in it for the long haul? My guest this month is a shining example of this. Marnie Massie created Treat Beauty, literally the happiest brand in the land. I love her tagline, Treat nourishes your dry, sensitive skin with a little joy. She's been in business for over 14 years and has had the pleasure of working with a wide variety of retailers, including Henri Bendel, Urban Outfitters, and Whole Foods. Marnie, welcome. We're so happy to have you today.
Thanks, Mia. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Marnie, I'd love for you to share with our viewers how you actually got started in this business. Share a little bit of your background there.
Well, I started Treat out of necessity because I have eczema, so have really dry, sensitive skin. And it just kind of started from a dermatologist had given me this bath oil and got me turned on to taking baths to help with my eczema. But the oil was a surfactant mineral oil mix, which mineral oil can be effective, but it's just nasty. And my ex-husband at the time, would call it frying chicken every time I go take a bath because it's not like I was going to I was just going to soak in oils. So I decided I just wanted to create something that was effective, delicious, something fun to take a bath in. The very first product I made was a bath truffle. And I was inspired by the fact that my birthday is Halloween. And so when I was trying to come up with, what to do, I was like, trick or treat. And it just kind of fell into place. Trick happened to be trademarked at the time and treat was not. And so it happened. It was out of a necessity. I really tried to focus on what do I love. And then I also read a really good book at the time. It's called How to Jumpstart Your Business Brain. I actually read it on my honeymoon years and years ago. And at the time, Treat was just like a twinkle in my eye. I didn't even know. I just knew I wanted to do this business. It had a totally different name, nothing really special about it. And I read this book and it just inspired me that one of the most important things in your business is to have what's called a dramatic difference. And that is what I focused on. There wasn't anything on the market that was a desserty, candy type product. And so I really kind of focused on that. I wanted to make what was unique and different. And I didn't have a lot of money. I had a really small budget, like a $1,200 credit card. So that was what I had to make it work on. And I just decided I was going to do this. And I did it. And went to Extracts in New York when I was just a little baby, going to the Javits Center and carrying my boxes in and I didn't even know you could ship them ahead of time. That's how little I knew about doing trade shows. And yeah, it just was a big deal because and Treat was one of the original gourmand beauty brands. And so it created this whole category in business and beauty. At the time, there was lots of lavender and chamomile and those types of scents out there, but there wasn't anything like vanilla or chocolate or, candy scented products. And so I just kind of focused on making it fun and delicious. And the very first show we did, I had bath truffles sitting on candy stands, cake stands, and people literally would steal them. And I think they were eating them. I would be like, what would they be doing with them? Because you can't stick them in your pocket and you can't, so it's just really cute because everybody would do it. There was a magazine editor that came through and I'd given her one and she came back the next day to tell me that her girlfriend took a bite of it because people couldn't resist, it was just so delicious. Luckily it was good for you because it was just cocoa butter and, those things.
And that's what I love about your brand, Marnie. It smells so good. I actually just have to show you. I've got one of your jumbo lip balms always at my desk. There's one in my purse. There's one in our diaper bag. So good. My son is always asking for balm. He wants the balm. And
I love it.
He definitely puts it on, and it's just so moisturizing. I mean, it is a great product, and I know that your business has gone through an evolution. It's definitely started from where you're at, as a baby, you say, from not knowing this to eventually you learning as you go. And these definitely are some great tips that you're sharing. Would love to dive in because they are so good. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs can see themselves utilizing these.
Oh, well, thank you. My number one tip is you don't need a lot of money to get started. Sometimes you hear people that say, oh, it's going to cost this, it's going to cost this. And I truly believe that what set me up for success was the fact that I didn't have a lot of money. If I had had a lot of money, who knows what kind of makeup line I may have created. I might have just done a cookie cutter, easy, throw your logo on a private label lip gloss, and that would have been all I knew to do. Where when I didn't have any money, it forced me to be creative. It forced me to come up with something unique and different. And I really believe that that's what set me up for success. So my number one tip is you don't need a lot of money to get started. Just do it.
I know sometimes there are companies that do start with a lot of money and they think that's great, right? But in the end, they didn't really learn the steps that sometimes you need to go through as an entrepreneur to evolve and to feel like you're well equipped to go to the next stage of things. So sometimes money isn't the best way to go about it. I totally get that, Marnie. Totally.
Yeah, I was just listening to a podcast and I downloaded the book, but I haven't started it yet. But Damon John, FUBU, the one that started FUBU, on Shark Tank, all that. He just wrote a book called The Power of Broke, which everybody should really dive into because it's just about what I'm saying. So it's just says how, he did give an example of how he had started bought a fashion brand and put like $6 million into it and ended up realizing that they were made more for runway and that the designers were more costume designers than they were, ready to wear designers. And but he had a lot of money, so he put a lot of money into it. And had he not had so much money, FUBU had a totally different start. So it's just very good. It's just an example of what I'm talking about. So
that actually segues into tip number 2 for you, that sometimes having little money makes you more creative. Are there any really big examples of how you had to be uber creative to make it in your 14 years of business?
Well, I guess I would have to say it just does come back to the launch and doing Treat from the very beginning. Is just, like I said, I had a $1,200 credit card literally to launch the line with. And I just got started in the kitchen and just went out and approached the very first store and just very little money. I guess that is tip number 2 is just be creative and it'll come. Tip number 3 is have patience, and not giving up is very important. I can't remember. I think it was Jay-Z or somebody that did a quote that said that like the number one secret to success, I think, was patience or perseverance or something like that. And it's just so true. Like you can't give up. You can't quit. And don't get into something that you're going to quit. It's the reason Treat is still around and it's been successful is because I'm obsessed with it. It's all I think about at night and day. And so you really have to be passionate about it, but don't give up. I mean, there's definitely been times, where I had to be you have to be innovative. We don't even carry the bath truffles anymore, which was the very first product that we launched with, so things change. Sometimes you have to step up, but you have to stay innovative if you want to stay relevant too. So just always be confident, persevere, don't give up, don't quit. Sometimes problem-solving skills are huge if you want to do something like this. And if you just throw up your hands and say, oh, I can't do it, then that's why most people don't succeed.
And sometimes it's just as simple as bringing someone on that has that skill set, letting go a little bit of the control so that you can transition to one of the places in your business that's your zone of genius. And I completely understand that, even being an entrepreneur myself. And when you grow, you realize that you cannot do it all and do it all well, and stick with what you do well and bring in others that can assist you for sure. And that is a way to problem solve when you're stuck in a rut.
That is the best advice ever, Mia, because I do truly feel that that's what is bringing my brand and my company to the next step is, of course, my dream was to be just in charge of creating new products. Of course, that's all I wanted to do, but I have to run the day-to-day. I have to do sales. I have to do things like that I just don't love to do. I found somebody that I brought onto my team who is that. That's what they do. She keeps me in line. She's like my boss, even though she works for me, because she makes sure that everything that needs to get done is getting done. And I can be a little bit like, oh, what new lip balm shade am I going to do? You know? And she's just like, what's, you know? So I love that, having a good team. You can't do it by yourself. You can't. I have done it by myself, but it takes longer to get where you want to be if you try to do it all by yourself. You can get there, but it's going to take longer.
And I love your tip number 4, which is do what you're passionate about. Find something you love or are obsessed with. Definitely share your 4th tip. Go for it.
Well, I think I did kind of touch on it. I keep going into my tips and everything, but yes, my 4th tip is do something that you're passionate about, something that you love, be obsessed with it. You know, it's like if it's just a product idea that you're not obsessed with, maybe find something that you're really obsessed with. If it's something that keeps you up at night, if it's something you can't sleep, you can't think, you know, you always come back to it, you know, that's always a good thing. But I think you touched on it too, is like, do what is, I don't remember what the word was you said, but it's like your passion, what you're good at.
Zone of genius.
Yes, your zone of genius.
Zone of genius.
I love that, because it's just like, if it's not, you don't love it and you're not going to do it, find somebody to help you that will do it, you know, and do the things, but you have to be passionate about it. You can't be lukewarm about something. I wouldn't have been able to do 14 years. I mean, there's a lot of years where I didn't get paid, you know, and so you have to, if I just, you know, some people would be like, forget that, I'm not doing it if I'm not getting paid. I never cared. I was just like, I'm going to do it anyway, you know, so it's worth it. You have to stick through and just, you do. I do love being happy. I love, you know, my ultimate goal, of course, is my biggest passion is animals and dogs and rescuing and that. And so main thing that drives me to be successful is I want my company to be successful so that it can get into doing other things, which is my ultimate passion. And so like rescuing dogs, and I really, really, really want to have like a doggy animal rescue farm, and Treat will hopefully be the one that finances that. And so that's what drives me too, is, you know, you have your passions be connected. My doggies and my beauty brand can be connected. So.
And that's absolutely beautiful. You have to find something beyond yourself to be a part of. And you know, a lot of entrepreneurs actually start business ventures to fulfill passions as well as heart and soul missions. It's what's definitely happens. It's what happens. And Marnie, actually, we have, you know, of course, brands that'll be watching this, and you have worked with several retailers. Of course, I mentioned them earlier, including Henri Bendel, Urban Outfitters, Whole Foods, and more. You know, what is your biggest piece of advice with approaching retailers or working with retailers, since you have literally been in the business to see the evolution of things?
Well, I think that the number one thing is to have a good marketing plan. You know, when you go in to approach them, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You know, have really good branding, have your products, have samples, have, you know, what's your plan? How are you going to get it out there? How are you going to promote it through social media? How are you going to promote it? How are you going to drive sales into the stores? You know, and you really want to concentrate. I've been in tons of stores, but the number one most important thing is, once you're in there, how do you sell? You know, you don't want to just get in those stores. I could be super excited about, you know, 200 Nordstrom stores ordering, but if they don't reorder, it doesn't do you any good. So you just have to really be, how are you going to promote? How are you going to help? How are you going to get the word out there?
And I would agree that is the number one piece of, you know, that is the actual biggest piece of the component of the whole sales cycle. So I always say people kind of see the sales cycle as this funnel where here it is, you're in, right? And then it gets narrow at the bottom where you're done. Actually, unfortunately, it looks more like an hourglass. So you're in, you open up the door, but then there's this whole nother massive game that happens here. And you got to ensure that you know how to work within it and make sure that your partnerships are successful. And you have definitely been able to do that throughout the years, and it shows because you are here, and I think Treat Beauty is here to stay, and I'm very excited to see what more Treat Beauty will be accomplishing, and congratulations on all of the amazing social media love, beauty blogger love that's happening out there for Treat Beauty. People love you, and you're doing something right. So I really hope that brands that are watching this can take these tips to heart.
Thank you, Mia. I really, really, really appreciate it. I do want to say one more thing about that too, is that I have a lot of people that email me or contact me and they say, how do you get bloggers? How do we get bloggers to like our stuff or find our stuff or talk about our stuff? And the number one thing is just put a good product out there. I didn't go after beauty bloggers. They found me and they found my brand through creating a good, amazing product. So just concentrate on that and hopefully they will come. And if they don't, just send them samples, you know?
Definitely use that. Marnie, thank you so much for being with us today on this masterclass. How can people connect with Treat Beauty? How can people find you out there?
The best way to find us is on Facebook or Instagram. I'm obsessed, love Instagram. So we're on there. We have all kinds of contests and giveaways all the time, at least once or twice a month at least. So you should definitely follow us on those places so that you can know about our contests and giveaways.
And I'll make sure to put the links down below so that everybody can go on ahead and connect with Marnie and Treat Beauty. You guys, if you found these tips absolutely helpful to you and your business, please make sure that you're subscribed to our newsletter so that you don't miss out on next month's brand champion interview and small business expert interviews that come up, as well as some big tips on retail sales from MB. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please share this with anybody you think it would be helpful to, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.